So, along with me, say this beautiful line from Swami Sukhbodhananda, and that line goes, "Sare bolo mere saath," and that is Maya Vinay. Say experience, the experience of experiencing an experience. So the line goes, experience the experience of experiencing an experience, and that is Maya Vinay. Because at every stage you experience something, then you know ये illusion तो नहीं था, then you experience something, and the cycle goes on. And in management, we call that as PDCA cycle. है ना? तो मैंने बता दिया मैं भी MBA हूँ करके ना. So I'll divide my talk into 4 stages, trying to finish it in exactly 11 minutes. The first stage, I'm a Mumbaikar, hardcore Mumbaiya, born and brought up there. Uh, so I'm a proud son of a taxi driver. My father was a taxi driver, and he's handsome, still stays with me. So I'm a proud son of a taxi driver. Lesson number 1, अपने background पे कभी शर्म मत करना. And that's what we learn. I stayed in a place called Bhandup in Mumbai. I'm a slum kid, So basically, my house was 150 square feet, and there are 3 of us plus father, mother. We grew up, and everything was, मुझे हमें ऐसे लगता था कि this is our life, the illusion. यहाँ से हम आगे नहीं बढ़ेंगे. That is what we used to feel. And when things change, when my chacha landed up in Mumbai, those days, today we live in a gated society, बड़े घर, इतना है, 3 bedroom, कार है, गाड़ी है, 3 लोग रहते हैं, 4 लोग रहते हैं. Those days छोटे घर पे 6 लोग रहते थे. आज घर बड़ा हो गया, दिल छोटा हो गया. That is what happened. And when my chacha came, obviously, he was searching for some work and things. And those days, 90s, Mumbai of 90 was full of gangsters. And then unfortunately, he went into that. So I'm a bhatija of a famous gangster of Mumbai. So my chacha, amazing guy, but unfortunately, he was encountered in 1997. Mujhe, till that time, I was so fascinated by him. And I was always like, na, yahi banna hai karke, So ninth standard, when a raid happened, when CIDs came home, so one of his Glock pistol was in my school bag. And thanks to that police inspector, he didn't register a case. Thanks to that beautiful soul, today I'm standing here as a naval officer, So that is what illusion set up. Things went far. So all of you know, sir, probably my age, I'm 50. So my age, we had a serial called Fauji by Shah Rukh Khan. So Shah Rukh Khan happened, and that is when the inclination towards the armed forces happened. Now the question was, in a small place, an English medium school where nobody speaks English, जैसे इंग्लिश बोलते हैं ना पीछे से ताली बजाते थे अंग्रेज आ गया करके for us it was so difficult to know also how to join the armed forces. That is when the National Defence Academy happened, one of the toughest entrance exams in India, of course, post IIT JEE, but the passing percentage in the NDA is much more tougher than the JEE. So NDA written exam, I cleared written, I cleared SSB 5 days, and in the medical, and when I cleared written exam, it was like abhi to fauji ban gaye, nobody can stop me. And that was the first illusion ki everything is fine. And when the medical happened, I was out medically because of my eyes. I couldn't match 6 by 6. So I came home dejected, depressed. And हमारे ज़माने में ना there was no term called depression. It was only कुटाई और पिटाई, है ना, by father. So my father was like, अरे ये भी नहीं कर पाया करके, है ना, you didn't get selected. And like what happens that time. Then I went for engineering. I am a sponsored student. My 4 years of engineering was sponsored by a trust, education trust. Thanks to such institute, student like me stand here as an engineer or whatever, So charity, lesson number 2, please do charity at whatever time, whatever space permit you, please do charity. Someone like me will stand here. So I went for engineering, was in a hostel, Mumbai University. The third illusion, ऐसे लगा सब हो जाएगा. I was a good student. And that is when the reality sunk. First semester, I got 5 drops. 5 paper KT lagi. In Mumbai, anyone from Mumbai here? We call ATKT. ATKT is allowed to keep term. In Marathi, we say atatari kaditari. If not now. And Mumbai University is so great. वो आपको तब तक लेके जाता है till the time you feel that you are useless. You know. So I got KTs and KTs, and in third year I had 16 backlogs. You know. And that is when illusion was कि engineer नहीं बनेंगे. That is when another poster comes in college. Join Indian Navy as a technical officer, last 4 semester, first class. And things changed from there. So somehow worked hard to get the KTs cleared, and I got first class in the last 4 semester. The best thing I did was I left the hostel, in the third year. Sare dost chhut gaye. So I appeared for Navy. I got cleared. I was All India rank 4 that year in 1998. And things happened, wearing uniform was everything for me. मुझे लगा यही मेरा life है, सब कुछ यही है. And the first posting happened to be the very famous Kargil war. Navy participated as Operation Talwar. At the age of 22 and a half years, you were there in the ship. You can read about Operation Talwar. One of those ships which went to closer to Pakistan was INS Kirpan. I was posted on that ship. Not that I was selected and all. It happened. वो time पे मैं वहाँ था. And that is the first time I saw war. What is like a war? Shershah movie देखी है? Captain Vikram Batra is my senior, 6 months. Saurabh Kalia is my coachmate. The first casualty which we had in Kargil. And when we went, the first emotion for the war. Till the time I wore uniform, it was like, yaar, marenge, kaatenge, yahi to hai. But when you actually go there, when they say you're going for war, the first emotion is fear. That's the first emotion. वो illusion break हो जाता है ना कि मैं macho हूँ करके. No, the first illusion is fear. Fear for not yourself but for the loud one. मम्मी पापा भाई बहन. And for me it was क्या मेरे यहाँ से सब कुछ ऊपर जा रहा है करके. And that happened. And ladies and gentlemen, I proudly display the war medals on my chest. You would have seen. उस पे देख लो. The star one. That's the war medal. And then when I was thinking सब कुछ सही है life में, I was posted with the Special Forces batch. It's called Marine Commandos. And I wanted to be in the Marine Commandos. Unfortunately, being an engineer, being a technical officer, I was not allowed. And that day I saw, I wanted to be this. But what is the point of staying back for another 10 years? And, typical Malayali, where government job is everything. जैसे ही पता चला आई एम relinquishing my short service 10 years, हंगामा सब जगह, पेंशन तक तो रुक जा. But that was not my aim because वहाँ दिल टूट गया somewhere. So I wanted to try something out. So I finished my 10 years of proper commission with all the medals, decorations, what we get in 20 years. And without waiting for pension, I moved out. So I had an MBA and I had a PGPX program from Narsi Monji, Mumbai. Navy does that. With all those degrees, अभी लगा कि ना फौज से बाहर आ गए with BTech, MTech, MBA, one more MBA, with so many programs, job तो ऐसे ही मिल जाएगा. Trust me, everyone used to salute कि sir war veteran है, but there was no work. 3 months I was jobless. I was babysitting when my daughter was 3 years, and my wife used to work. So she's beautiful. She's my girlfriend. इतने साल से, and when I saw her for the first time, illusion ये था ना कि ये मिलेगी कि नहीं करके. फिर बाद में शादी हो गई, 21 years, and that's life beautiful. So it gave a reality check. कि every stage is different. You have to find yourself. And when I was leaving Navy, I had put on weight, 107 kgs. That is the time I find my love in distance running. Distance running, marathons and ultra marathons. But one stage, when it was, everything was going fine. So I decided to participate in a race called Comrades Ultra Marathon in South Africa, which is 90 kilometers run in 12 hours. So I completed twice, 2 times in South Africa, part of the Indian Comrades team. So when marathon happens, how many of you have run 10 kilometers and above? इतना अच्छा campus है ये तो है ना? So when the run marathon happens, first 3 kilometers, body will give you an illusion. Next 30 kilometer, mind will lie to you. It will give you an illusion. उसके बाद when you run 30 kilometers and beyond, you find yourself. Every stage you find yourself, and that is where the marathons happen. So uniform taught me discipline, marathons taught me humility. When things were going fine, that is when the COVID happened. And when COVID happened, all of us were confined to, our places. There I came online, the power of social media. And there were so many youngsters who got connected. There I started mentoring and teaching all these youngsters, underprivileged youngsters who want to join Army, Navy, Air Force. Saturday, I used to have a class on Zoom, even today, even this day, but today can't be. And people from all corners of India, Himachal, Jammu Kashmir, Kerala, they used to join not knowing anything. And let me proudly announce there are 171 of my students who are in the Army, Navy, Air Force through online. They came, so my purpose of life was I came from such a background, and when I see so many folks joining armed forces through such backgrounds and such difficulty, it gives you an awesome vibe. Gen Z में बोलते हैं ना vibe. And when they come back home, Kashmir से यहाँ से वहाँ से, I love Old Monk. So a lot of them come back with Sir Old Monk. So that gives more than anything. It gives कि अच्छा it's a full circle life. People send me, sir हमने कश्मीर में टेररिस्ट मारे, फोटो भेजू क्या आपको, सिंदूर में हम थे, and all. So it's so beautiful. Latest one of my girl, like my daughter only, she was from the orphanage, and when I went for a similar lecture in Surat, there I met her, and after 3 attempts, today she is in OTA and pursuing another 6 months. She will be a lieutenant. That is the beauty of this journey, and that is where you find the purpose. That is where So like in Navy, what happens when we sail? Sailing is tough. Sailing is tough. बाहर से glamour, रुस्तम का कपड़ा, white, gazi, and even I used to feel, मुझे ऐसे लगता था कि the moment I wear white with a Ray-Ban goggle, सारी लड़कियां मर पड़ेंगी ना, ऐसे एक feeling होती थी तभी. But it is not true, because in ship, in warship, जब रोलिंग पिचिंग करता है ऐसे ऐसे ऐसे, पूरी हथड़ी बाहर आ जाती है. You vomit, you vomit blood at some stage. So ship gets damaged. There are a lot of compartments inside. What we do when a ship get damaged, we don't abandon ship. हम लोग को ship के ना वो compartment को we do damage control, we move on. And trust me, ship performs better when it comes back. So is life. Life is all about self-awareness. Life is all about moving far away from the illusions, and life is all about finding yourself. See, you may be a lieutenant commander. I had rank, I author, title, TEDx speaker, falana dimkana, marathoner, ye wo, Instagram pe follower, YouTube pe. But every day when I go back home, जब मैं नहाने के लिए mirror के सामने, when I stand naked, that is the time I talk to myself in that mirror. Have you achieved something? And that you cannot fool that person who's there in the mirror. So as Osho says, somebody asked Osho, is there a life beyond death? Valid question. Is there a life beyond death? तो ओशो ने उसको क्या बोला? The question is not if there is a life beyond death. The question is, are you alive before your death? Are you alive to see your death? हम मर जाते हैं उसके पहले ही. 20 साल में ही हम मर जाते हैं, 30 साल में मर जाते हैं. So find yourself, more than anything, more than titles, more than designation. Every day ask whether I've got the clarity that who I am. And to all the students here, you will carry one of the biggest tag. Let me tell you, when I moved from academy, सबको लगता था Naval Academy से pass out, he is the guy. So similarly, you will move with I am Sambalpur, the tag of I am, because I am in corporate right now. So that tag will be a very precious tag, at the same time very difficult tag. So don't get pressurized under that. Be you. Don't be the illusion. Jai Hind.